Never. What are you dabbing for?
Hey gang, welcome back to Let's Level Up. My name is Rick Perez, and on today's episode, again, we are talking about my first castle panic. Now, I'm going to be joined by a couple members of the P team, and spoiler alert, we really like this game. Now, if you don't know, my first Castle Panic is a stripped down version for all ages of Castle Panic. And what I mean by that is that it removes some of the more complex mechanics of Castle Panic and kind of streamlines things into one single lane of monsters, one basic wall, and a castle. So you don't have to worry about knocking out all your towers or all of your walls first. There's nothing like the Wizard's Tower or special boss monsters or anything like that in this game yet. Although, I don't know, I could see more expansions to this coming in the future. I really enjoy this game. It still scratches that strategic Castle Panic cooperative experience, but in a way that even my 4-year-old Brea can do it. And you're going to hear more from her later. It's really cool to be able to set this game down, have fun as an adult, and still allow my kids, again, from 4 to 10, all really enjoy themselves and be able to strategically weigh in and make decisions that still feel rewarding. You're not going to see this same type of experience in something like Trouble or Sorry or Battleship, or even those old school family board game night experiences that we all remember growing up. Now, that's not to say that there's anything wrong with playing those games. I like those games. Probably know me if you watch the channel yet. I like most games I play. But this just gives us a way to kind of dive in and have more of the modern board game feeling with our family. And I think the more of these My First games that come out, the better. I'm really excited to see some more come down in the future. Hopefully before my kiddos all grow out of the My First stage. But this is really fun. So follow me to the table. I'm going to show you a bit of how it's set up, how to play the game, and then we're going to come back with myself, Penny, and Brea, and we're going to talk about the game and what we like about it. Setting up My First Castle Panic has never been easier. You're going to take the board, set it in the center of the table within reach of all players. You're going to take your My First Castle Panic card deck and shuffle them. Be sure to remove the player aids before you do that. Then you're going to take all of the monsters, shuffle them, and put them in a pile, except for the 3 starters designated by the stars here. Those are going to go on the first 3 spaces. You're going to assemble your gate and your castle and put them in the appropriate areas on the board, which are in the furthest rightmost spaces. Now, our objective here is to protect our castle at all cost. If the castle falls, the game is over. Now, these little monsters are going to try to make that very hard for us. You notice that this is unlike the normal Castle Panic, where there are different quadrants of a circle and different rings there that the monsters can move between. There is just one lane they travel down. Each lane has a specific shape and color that are coordinated with cards from the deck. So for instance, if I wanted to play this card, I could remove a monster on the green triangle space, which is here. Since there's no green triangle or monster there now, then it wouldn't be much good to me. There are different kinds of cards, including hero cards, such as that one, which would basically take out a monster of any blue shape. I don't know if there's one for the, oh yeah, here we go. And then also for the shapes themselves. So this could take out a hero that would take out a monster in any square. So again, each of these cards is going to have a color and a symbol and a shape that are going to specifically match up with one space on the board. When I play that card, I kick that monster's butt and lock him up in the dungeon. Now, if we can clear out all of the monsters from the deck, or from their draw pile rather, we win, as long as our castle still stands. If a monster were ever to move into a space where your castle gate is, the gate is removed and destroyed, and the monster actually KOs himself. If that happens again, we lose the game because the castle will fall. Okay, there are 2 special cards here. Let's say that our gate has been destroyed already. We have the Rebuild the Wall, or the Wall card, which will allow you to rebuild the wall if it's been knocked down. So when I play this card, it gets discarded and we bring our wall back, or our gate back, to the beginning of the castle. We also have another special card. These are the only 2 like these in the entire deck. This is the boot card. This allows us to basically kick a monster back to the monster draw pile, not the dungeon, mind you. And they'll give us another chance, or basically allow us to remove one monster from the board that we may not have an answer for at that specific time. A lot of the flavor of my first Castle Panic actually comes in the form of these monsters here. Now, we've already talked about the starters designated by this star, and these to basically just move one space every turn. There are also versions of the same monster without the star that can be found randomly in the monster draw pile. But we actually have 3 unique monsters that make things a lot more interesting. The first is the Shover. Now, when a monster spawns, they're always going to spawn here in the start space unless they say otherwise. When the Shover is played, you're going to move all monsters, including the Shover, one space closer towards the castle. And the way that I usually do that is start with the monster at the very front of the line, move it one space, and then follow suit. All of the monsters there, including the Shover. You can see that can get pretty nasty, especially if you have a monster here. You can actually shove them into the gate and cause a lot of damage. Another really nasty monster is the Runner. Now, the Runner is actually really cool. Instead of starting at the start space, it starts on the front, in the space in the front of the closest monster towards the castle. Now, if that closest monster is in front of the wall or the castle, that means the Runner hits the wall or the castle. So you could potentially lose the game by a Runner coming onto the field. So instead of starting in the start, it'll actually start in the furthermost space. Now, the final monster, and the most nasty, is the Marcher. The Marcher is going to basically act like a Shover and move all monsters one space, including the Shover, including the Marcher, and then you're going to draw another monster from the pile. In this case, it is a Runner that we just drew. So the Runner is going to spawn right here. Yikes. We've got to do something to get rid of these monsters. Now, on your turn, it's very basic. You're basically almost always going to have one card face up for all players to see. On your turn, the first thing you're going to do is draw another card. So you can see here I have a red triangle and a green circle, which means that I can take out a monster on the start space or the second space. Now, from here, I can either play a card from my hand or ask one of my teammates for help. So for instance, let's say my teammate over here has a green circle, and then this teammate has a green triangle. Now I can ask my teammate for help. I can't really do anything there. I have a green circle, so I don't really need to use my other teammates, but I could then potentially use their cards. In my first Castle Panic, it's really important that everybody learns to play nicely and cooperatively with each other, or else you're gonna lose this game. Don't let this version of the game fool you. It can still be very, very nasty, depending on how the monsters draw. Now, when I want to play a card, I simply take the card out of my hands, I boop the monster, and then I take the monster, and I put them in the dungeon. Now, what's really cool about this game is that there's actually a dungeon that is included in the base of the game. So you just take the monster, you throw them in the dungeon, and then you move on. After you have played your card, you then move monsters one space. So the last thing you do on your turn is actually draw a new monster. Now, this is after you've already moved all monsters. So you can see here, if I were to draw a Runner or a Marcher, things are going to look really, really bad from my wall. Let's see here. All right, we just got a normal monster. They're going to start on the start space. That's my turn. Now I would pass to the player on my left. You're going to keep doing this until either your castle's been destroyed or all of the monsters from the monster draw pile have been arrested and put in the dungeon. Well, that's how you play the game. Pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you like playing the game? You do? You
gotta
say something.
Yeah.
Yeah?
We mostly in Castle Panic win a lot.
They do win quite a bit, which is interesting. But we've actually figured out there were a couple little rules things that we were doing wrong to begin with.
Yeah.
So maybe bending the rules a little bit to get some early victories. But when we play the game the right way, and you can actually teach people how to play the game, right? How many people have you taught how to play the game? A lot. That's right. So, Brea, what's your favorite thing about my first Castle Panic? You do not know? What? You were just telling me. It's to play the cards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? What do you do with the cards?
You put the monster monsters in the dungeon.
That's right, putting the monsters in the dungeon. How about you? What is your favorite thing?
I think when I was at school once, I got to bring this over, and we got to play. It was school game time.
That's
it was
awesome.
Like almost to the summer. It was one of our pop balloons in 2nd grade. That was my favorite. I get to teach everybody, but then one of them had to stay there and teach them because I wanted to play other games.
Yeah?
There's too much interesting games and puzzles in
That is true. Look at this big wall of games behind us. There's a lot of interesting games out there. So what is it about My First Castle Panic that both of you like to play? The reason why you like to play this over an Xbox game or something like that?
I think it would go really good as an Xbox game, but if you look to the side right here,
Yeah?
I just realized that if you see right there, there's like a little elf. What's going on here?
That's a gnome. That's not an elf. That's like a David the gnome.
It looks like an elf.
What? That is not an elf.
It's
looks like an elf.
That's a goblin. Those are monsters, not elves. You guys are silly. So Penny, what's your favorite thing about the game?
Well, honestly, I love getting the monsters into the dungeon just like Brea.
Yeah?
You can flick them, throw them, dab on them, any kind of way.
You can dab on
Oh my god!
That's right. That may be a My First Castle Panic first. Dabbing on the monsters all the way to the dungeon.
Just dab on them, flick them.
Well, as you can see, my entire family likes this game. I like playing this game as well. Now, once you graduate and you've kind of got this and where you're not losing anymore, I highly recommend you check out the base set of Castle Panic. In fact, I think there's even a big box set that you can order now that includes Castle Panic and all the expansions, which is really cool. So we're not quite there yet because we still lose sometimes, but...
Never. Never. What are you dabbing for? Okay, she's just probably dabbing on Dad.
What?
Like,
No. You wouldn't dab on me. What? Well, thanks, gang. We appreciate you watching this video. If you liked it, give us a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell thingy, I guess. That's all the kids are doing now. Connect with us on our social media presence. All of our information is available at letslevelup.net, including ways to get our merch and help us out on Patreon. Everything you do immediately goes back into the channel, and I'm really excited about things to come. So let us know what you think. If you've played My First Castle Panic, what are some of your favorite moments there? What are some of the age ranges that you've played with? And how do you generally like the game? You can hit me up on Twitter at Let's Level Up, rather. Until next time, thank you so much.
his channel is great, you guys. Check it out.
Oh, thank you. Game on. All right, guys, that's it.
Yay!